Hey, guess who this is? It is Dr. G.
And Lisa.
And Lisa, my sidekick, my trusty sidekick that puts up with me all the time. You are listening to Frisky Biscuit, the podcast that almost never happens every week, but we're here.
And we thank you for joining this week with us, for all you road warriors out there, the truckers, the motorhome junkies, the food truckers, the commuters, all of you. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Well, let's get started. We got a lot to talk about, and we've had a lot of stuff happen this week with us that has been very, very interesting, and a lot of good reactions from some of you out there. And in fact, I don't think we've had an unfavorable reaction.
I know you guys love our stickers. They're so cool too, is they don't stick like regular stickers. They have, what do they call it?
It's a static cling.
Static cling, yeah.
You know,
kind of like your clothes when you get them on the dryer.
The thing you want to get rid of in your laundry. Our stickers have those naturally for your windshield. So.
Yeah. And everybody's loving them, so thank you.
Well, we are happy to be with you. Just a little bit of housekeeping. You can contact us with my, I guess it's my text number, 707-479-7404. And that number is there for you to use, and text us if you have comments or challenges or things you want us to talk about.
And through email, it's friskybiscuitpodcast@gmail.com. You can also go to our website, frisky-biscuit, just put the dash in between friskyandbiscuit.com. And through our new YouTube channel, you can actually see us live if you really want to see us. We're doing this podcast live on YouTube.
You know, let's talk about the gorilla in the room right now. You'll notice what we have here.
Oh, yes.
Our official Frisky Biscuit shirts.
Yeah.
And where can they get those? Let's talk about where we can find our merchandise now. And you got some merchandise here on the table. Let's kind of talk about that for just a moment before we get started on trucker news.
Okay, that sounds good. It just came in, a few of the pieces. We have our Frisky Biscuit Mooseye Media Idaho hat with our moose logo. That's kind of our tradition, is our moose logo. We'll also come up with a hat that just has the moose on it. And this one says Idaho because that's where we're from. We also have some t-shirts. We have these Frisky Biscuit t-shirts, and we have this cute-ass beanie available for you, and a lot of other t-shirts, too, that are all located on our website, frisky-biscuit.com. Let us know.
And we proudly wear these colors. You know, they probably look better on you than they do on me. However, we got them, and we want you to order them. Check it out on our website. And it'll be kind of fun to see some of these out there. Also, we have our stickers, and if you ever are so fortunate to be interviewed by us, all you have to do is let us know that you're one of our podcast listeners, and we'll give you a sticker.
Yeah, we have a couple interviews coming up. This week, we don't have one. I got really busy grant writing this week.
Excuses.
I know, it is an excuse, but it happened. So they'll be coming shortly.
And then one of the coolest things we have is, where did it go?
We have a button.
Dr. G. We've got a button.
Dr. G.
Yes, and Lisa's K is on the way. Yeah, that's from my old radio days. I couldn't help but put that in there.
Dr. G.
It just boosts my ego so much to hear that, you know.
It is fun.
All right, let's talk about trucker news. What do we got this week?
We took a road trip this week, and we went over to, it's about 2 hours, just a short one, but it was a lot of fun. And we stopped at a couple of truck stops because we love truck stops. We love the truckers. And so I went in and I was like, okay, let's find out what the top truck stops are. And I found them. What they did is they took 1 million truckers off of Trucker Path, the users, and they asked them, what were your favorite truck stops? What were your favorite chain truck stops? And what were your favorite independent truck stops? And I was kind of shocked, and I think you might be too. So let's start off with the chain, okay? So the 5th place was Love's Travel Stop in Hamilton, Alabama. Never been there, but I do love Love's because there's so many of them, and they're usually so clean. Then the next chain truck stop, the 4th place, was T.A. Oakley in Oakley, Kansas. 3rd place was Rocky Mountain Truck Centers of Little America in Green River, Wyoming. Second place was another Love's truck stop in Bliss, Idaho. And that's the one that we actually stopped at. It's brand new, state-of-the-art, just beautiful, busy.
This truck stop is unbelievable. I've never seen a more beautiful truck stop. You think you're at a Four Seasons hotel or something. They got a store in there. It's one of the biggest stores I've ever seen at a truck stop.
With everything. And one thing I noticed too is the diesel was a little higher there at that Love's, but I tell you what, it was worth stopping.
Yeah, if you can tolerate the diesel price, it's a great place to stop.
Yeah. And then number one, Pilot. Remember last week we talked about Pilot doing such great updates over the next 6 years? Well, their travel center in Mill Hall, Pennsylvania became the number one chain truck stop. So let's go into the independent truck stops. Fifth place, Truck World Truck Stop in Hubbard, Iowa. Iowa. Fourth was Russell Edey Truck and Travel Center in Glen Rio, New Mexico. Third place, Boise Stage Truck Stop in Boise, Idaho. And that's the one we always stop at. It's really close to Boise. It's old. I mean, it's probably, 80, 90 years old?
It's over 100 years old.
Oh.
By the way, just a footnote on that. They got the best hot turkey sandwich.
And pies.
And I'm telling you, the heaps of, it's embarrassing to eat there. But I'll tell you what, it is good, and it's worth stopping. If you're ever out here in 84, stop at that Stage Stop Truck Stop. It's like old school, perfect.
And filled constantly, all the time. It's hard to get a seat in there. So that's definitely worth. And we were surprised that 2 Idaho truck stops got on these lists out of 10. So that's pretty good.
That doesn't mean Idaho is a cool place to live, though. You don't want to come here.
No. Second place for the independents were Big Apple Truck Center in Joplin, Missouri. And then first place for the independent truck stops is Burt's Travel Center in Wellsville, Kansas. So that means Kansas, Oakley, Kansas, and Wellsville, Kansas also made 2 of the top 10. So if you're traveling through Kansas, stop on by.
That's pretty cool. I mean, Idaho got a couple of them.
Yeah, I was really surprised.
We actually were able to go to both of them. They are pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Especially that Love's. I tell you what, they'd be, if they were all like that, it'd be hard to not go there.
Well, and I can see why Pilot's putting so much money, $1 billion in the next 6 years, into their upgrades, because Love's and Pilot seem to be a rival between where to stop. Totally. I know a lot of the RVers stop.
Exactly, yeah. And we stopped. He sucked us into it, so, of course, that's not that hard for us. We just enjoyed getting out there in our motorhome this weekend or this last week and driving it. And, spring sprung here in Idaho where we're located. I'm sure it is where you are too, and starting to happen. And we saw a whole bunch of fifth wheels and pullables. Just all of a sudden.
Was it 2 or 3 weeks ago we went and hardly anybody was out. And last week, everybody was out. It was so great to see. And a little bit of everybody, from other states, too, that we're traveling through. It was really nice.
If you got a motorhome or a fifth wheel or a pullable of any kind, get that thing ready. Let's get out here. Let's see out here in the national forests, have some fun this summer with all the BS going on nationwide and worldwide. Ignore that. Go have fun. Live your life. And you're going to find that stuff will go away eventually anyway. So we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. We got some stuff on... some of it, not to insult people's intelligence, is kind of common sense stuff. But another thing is a lot of the things we're going to talk about today have to do with what we've learned the hard way by doing it wrong. And some of the things you can do to really kind of make your life a little easier if you're camping, and whether you have a camper, motorhome, or even probably a tent. They're just some common sense things, especially when you're driving out there. Some of the things we've learned as newbies a couple of years ago, when you're driving, and to watch out for. So we're going to talk about all those things today, and we are brought to you by Moose Eye Grantology, who is our sponsor, and our lovely Lisa Kay here is the owner of that company, plus also we share ownership of Moose Eye Media, which is part of that, and she's going to be talking about Moose Eye Grantology and what they can do for your nonprofit, and even if you don't have a nonprofit, what they can do to help you develop one so you can help with all that's going on in the world in a brand new way without giving your money away, unfortunately, to Uncle Sam. So let's get started, Lisa. What do we have?
Well, and I also want to comment on that is we do have a couple of other spots available for anybody that wants to do some advertising on our podcast. So we have 2 spots right now available. So anybody interested, give us a shout out. Email is probably the best, friskyBiscuitPodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, we are looking for a couple of very qualified sponsors, and we will interview you intensely to make sure you qualify.
Just have to be fun. If you're not fun, forget it.
You got to be willing to have fun and put up with us, which isn't that big of a deal.
I mean, this podcast is all for you, for everybody that's a road warrior that's out there, to just have a little bit of fun and maybe a little bit of education and entertainment.
Just a shout out to my grandson also.
Yeah, thanks, Morgan.
Thanks for all the tips, Morgan. It did work last week, and boy, I tell you what, I was so proud of myself for passing muster with you and you telling us this was a good experience for you. So thank you so much, and keep those suggestions coming. And we have improved on the lighting a little bit this week thanks to the earth, because we have an overcast sky today. So I didn't do anything different, but thank you, Morgan. That's my grandson, 14 years old. He does this stuff better than anybody I know.
And I'm sure each of you have somebody in your household that's 10 to 14 years old that's helping you, because it does help. Oh, thank you.
Yes. All right, let's get rolling.
So one of the other things in truckers news that we thought we'd talk about, we aren't political. We like to stay kind of in between and not go either side. However, there's one thing that came up in the truckers news that I found fascinating is there's 2 gentlemen that both own trucking companies that said, you know what, I am sick of what's going on. I'm going to run for the House of Representatives here in Idaho in District 27. So they're both running in the same district against each other. And the first guy, his name is Ryan Cook, and he owns, he's owned his own trucking company for 19 years. And he just got sick and tired of what the people in the legislature were doing to his business in agriculture and making their own decisions that were affecting him, yet they didn't really know much about the agricultural industry, yet it was affecting him. And he said, you know what? I'm tired of it. I'm going to run. The other gentleman is Clay Handy, and he owns Handy Truck Line. So we just want to give a shout out to these 2 guys. His great-grandfather started his company and passed it down. He's got great negotiation skills. He was a former Cassia County commissioner, and he was just tired of, at the pandemic, all the small businesses got shut down, yet all the big businesses could stay. And so he is really tired of the expanded government outreach, what they're doing to the nation's schools, and he wants to protect the freedom and our constitutional rights, make them supported. So it was really fun to see 2 truckers get out there and say, no, I'm done. I'm going to run and I'm going to make a difference. And I think politically we're seeing more and more of that, of just individuals like you and I that just are tired of it. And they're tired of the bureaucracy. Ever heard you say that?
You almost slid through it, though. That's pretty good. Bureaucracy.
Yeah, I don't really try to stay away from politics, but how can you not hear it? It's just constant lately.
I think in November there's going to be a big surprise coming. And I'm ready for it. I think everybody is too. We got to get this country rolling again, baby.
So I am really proud of you 2 guys for stepping it up and saying, hey, I'm going to go out there and do something about it.
I'd like to see more people do that. It's a big deal, though. You get in there in that politics, and it kind of almost ruins your life. I mean, it's what can happen there. But, boy, we got to have people that are interested that will make a difference in the world.
And that aren't in the system, right? These guys are in the trucking system, so they've related to you and I for years.
Exactly.
It's kind of nice. All right, well, let's move on.
We're lagging.
Other thing I found was, it's called the Forgotten Code. It's what our government put together for our interstate system. And I just found it hilarious. So I thought that we would talk about it today.
Oh, no. I know where you're going now.
So we talked a little bit about it, and it's kind of like who's on first, who's on second. You know how government works. You know how they put together things.
This is nerve-wracking.
So this is how they put together our interstate and interstate systems.
Get your tablets out.
Throughout our country.
Have to take notes on this.
Yeah, I think everybody might learn something if Maybe. We'll see. Let us know.
It's government work.
So first we're going to go with our interstate system, okay? So what they did is they put together these major east-west highways and north-south highways. Okay, so east-west highways are double digit. They end in 0, and they start at 10, 20, 30, 40. They skip 50 and 60 because they didn't want to get us mixed up with Route 66. So they just skipped them and then went 70, 80, 90. So there's like I-90 goes from Seattle to Boston, I-20, Florence, South Carolina to Texas, I-40, Barstow, California to Wilmington. But they skip 50 and 60. Got it? So those are going east-west, and those are called east-west majors. Now, they couldn't just go east-west. You got to go north-south. So they put together some north-south majors. Now, those are 2 digits. They end in 5. So there's we'll skip 05 because they screwed up in California. They just called it O.
You're getting lost in your own maze now.
I know. They just call it 5. Like, where's the O? So every time you're going from San Diego to Washington and you're going north-south, you're not on the 5. You're on the 05 because it's supposed to be 05, and for some reason they skipped the O. But there's 05, then there's I-10, I-20, I-30, I-40, I-50, I-60, 70, 80, and 90. So they completed all of them. Now, remember, they end in a 5, and they go which way? I-5.
I-5? Up and down.
Up and down. And then O's, east and west.
Oh, O's are...
East and west.
But that does not make sense because we have Interstate 84 here in Twin Falls that goes east and west, and it's got a 4.
I know. We'll get to those. But we're just talking about the majors. Like they did the minors and the majors. Remember, who's on first, who's on second. That's just how this is set up. So the lower the numbers, the more south and west you are, and the higher the numbers, the more north and east you are. So remember that. That's important.
Who is this designed to help again?
Well, all of us, supposedly, by the government, though. And if it ends in 0, if you're ending a 0 and you're on a major interstate, you're going horizontally. Now, if it ends in a 5, you're going vertically. So that's what you have to remember. Now, if you get over to Alaska, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, those are intrastates. Forget that. They just have letters instead of numbers. So let's just go back to the continent because... Okay, so then you have the minors. Okay, so those were the majors. So
and we're not talking about baseball here, correct?
No, these are our main interstates, right? So the minors come off the majors, and they have 3 numbers. The last 2 numbers are the major whence they came. So the first number, if it's even, say like 620, you're going to get off the 20 and go around, and you'll hit the 20 again because it's even. So they're called bypasses. So they bypass something, or they're called beltways because they encircle something. So even numbers like 620, 420, 220 will go back to the 20. However, if you jump on an odd one, and again, this is the minor interstate systems, the odd number in front, like 320 or 520, you won't be coming back. You'll be plunging somewhere else. You may end up in Canada,
Don't you think
the
it's
ocean.
Amazing that she's actually learned all of this?
I think it's fascinating. Because when you're driving around and you're on an O, you know which way are you going? East, west.
I actually never even thought about it until you brought this up.
Well, those of you that travel, especially the truckers across country, I'm sure you already know all this stuff. However, what happens to that 284 and those other ones? Well, those are interstate members and medians, really. They go through the states. And the states, they can drum up their own. So you can have all kinds. There's even duplicate numbers like 284, 384. There's some in Minnesota. But they're far enough away from each other in the states that they think that you won't get confused. Okay, so repeat everything I just said.
That's no pop quizzes here, man. I tell you what.
So that's our fabulous interstate system from our government. It is the forgotten code. So just remember, if you get a 3-digit and it's even, you're going to get back to whatever major you are on.
Man.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, especially in the Northeast. I think that's where it comes in.
Well, the funny thing is, like here in Idaho or even in California, you go there and they got road two different roads going two different directions in two different parts of the state of the same number.
I know. And that happens a lot. I mean, you see that in Minnesota. You see it in fact, there's one there that is the 395 and the 295, and they go around, but they come back to the same point. Like, it makes no sense. So the states didn't really get in with the federal government when they made their own, and each state can make their own numbers. That's why you're getting duplicate numbers. So unless you see that interstate logo, forget it.
Yeah. What's the difference between an interstate and an intrastate?
Intrastate is in Puerto Rico, Alaska, or Hawaii, and they start with a letter, like H34, H20.
Oh, man.
They didn't follow it at all. They just said, I'm so far away. Let's just start with let's just use the alphabet.
Let's just forget about it and talk about some more stuff here. Hey, guess what time it is?
What?
It is Moose Eye Grantology time. Here's a word from our sponsor.
All right, Moose Eye Grantology. So I thought I'd talk about today those of you that aren't getting grants, or your grant writer is not getting grants, or you haven't even applied for grants. That's where we can come in. We can look over your board, your organization of what's happening that you're not receiving the grants. Are you connecting in with the right grantor? Is there not enough data to write the grants? What are you doing?
I just was playing with the camera here.
All of a sudden, I saw this Frisky Biscuit Road Warrior sticker flying across.
Sorry.
Anyway, if you require a grant and you'd like some help with that, that's what we're here for. And that's what I've been doing all week very diligently for a wonderful organization over in Boise, helping them write a grant. And when you write a grant, you don't just get a lot of data and go away. You do it simultaneously with the organization. So we work together pretty effectively and pretty closely to write something that's effective for you. And we trust that in the end result, you will receive that grant. So give us a call. You can contact us best way on our website, mooseeyegrantology.com. That's it. That's the commercial.
Very good. Nice job, Kimosabe.
Thank you.
So when you go camping, I noticed the last time we went, you took an electric toothbrush.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I don't have to do anything to it. It's battery operated. So.
I noticed on our show notes here, you have something here. We're going to be talking about the conveniences and some of the things we should bring along and some of the things we probably shouldn't.
Well, I figure it's spring. Everybody is spring cleaning and getting ready for the summer. So I thought I would put together some organizational tips. And I think the most important thing when you're doing this is to keep it really simple, keep it light, keep it multi-purpose. And you want to make sure that you're secure. I mean, you don't want things... how many times when you first started did you open a cabinet and everything was all messed up, or there were things on the floor? So secure is really important. And, one of the things in the refrigerators, a lot of them are just ice boxes per se, especially some of the older rigs. And so they have these bungee cords now that you can put on the front part of your refrigerator that are really cool. And they also have some braces that you can embrace and put liquids in, say it's just milk or orange juice, that will brace those things in your refrigerator. So that's something to consider that we've done that have been really effective for us, because some of the doors, the things fall off. You open the door and it's just like, things moved.
Yeah. A lot of this stuff is kind of common sense, and we learn some things through common sense, which sometimes it isn't that common, right? But man, I'll tell you what, these little when we're in our motorhome and when you're out there traveling, and we talk to other people the same way, man, what it is. It's the little things. Yeah. It's the devil's in the details, the little things, like where you put certain things in the drawer. And one of the big things that I have a problem with is rattling. Stuff that rattles and shakes when you drive. Because our motorhome, if you don't have anything in it, is quiet. It's as quiet as a car. But they start adding things and things start rattling. So we've discovered a few things that keep things from rattling. It's pretty simple stuff.
Yeah, one of the things that worked really well are our baskets. Like, especially like our toiletries in our bathroom, we keep them in the basket here at the house. Those of you that aren't traveling full time. And then when we're ready to go, we just grab that basket so you don't forget things. And we love, and I think most people love, command hooks because you can hang things and they stick. There's also little baskets that you can stick on the walls and they come right off and they don't leave any kind of marks. And once we discovered those, there's no going back.
Those things are kind of amazing. I cannot figure out how they work. I know it's friction and tension and all this kind of stuff, but they're kind of amazing, and you don't think they're going to work, and they do, and they hold a lot of weight.
We even use them at the house now for everything instead of nails
punching holes in the wall.
And I know one thing you love that I think most guys love is the those wrap cords. I forgot the name of them that you actually wrap around your cords.
Oh, the ones we have are Velcro. They're kind of thick and heavy, so we can put power cords and
it just keeps everything so organized.
It keeps it really nice rolled up. You put them in the bay, and it works. A lot of we know people that just take their hoses and cords and throw them in one of the bins underneath their motorhome or their fifth wheel, and the stuff comes out. It takes an hour to get it untangled. So that is not our style. And I strongly suggest you get in the habit of just rolling them up and banding them together. And when you stop somewhere, especially if it's after dark, probably not a good idea, but a lot of people do, it just helps you sort this stuff out so much easier.
It seems like it saves a lot of time too, because you're not always figuring out where your cords are and how to get them taken care of, especially if you get in late. What else? We like things that are multi-purpose, things like mason jars that you can put all kinds of items in. We like the ones that are plastic too, so they don't make noise. Again, it's that rattling back and forth, and that we're finding that plastics work really well, hooks work really well, baskets work really well. And I forgot, one of the other things we do in our deep cleaning before we get going is we use a product called F11. Now, this is an affiliate. We just find products that we love that work, that we want to show you, and just to shout out and share of things that we found that work. And we encourage you to do the same thing. Go to our YouTube channel and give us some comments and write what you like as well.
This F11 is kind of amazing stuff. And the guy that owns it's a veteran, and it's a family-owned company, but it's amazing. You got a bottle of it there, don't you?
Yeah, it says multi-purpose application, and it really is. This is what it looks like, and it comes in a squirt bottle. Generally, they give you, when you buy them, those like fiber cloths that come with it, and you just squirt it on, wipe it off with one cloth, and then go back again with something that's not wet, that's another fiber cloth, and re-wipe it off. You can use it on your paint. You can use it on your computers. You can use it on your glasses. You can use it on windshields. You can use it on everything. And
you can even use it on our granite in the kitchen, and it polishes it, and it really kind of seals the water damage and gets away from it. And it's a great product. It's not very expensive. And we've been using it for 3-4 years now. And used it on the motorhome, the cars, anything, and it really keeps it clean and keeps from rust and all that stuff from damaging stuff. So,
and
F11.
I also like that. I like things that save time, and I think that this really saves time for you, because once it's on there, the dirt doesn't stick, even to the outside of your coach. The water just ripples off, especially on the windows. If you have problems with bugs and things like that, I would say get some F11. It's not inexpensive. However, once you put it on, and you can put 2 or 3 coats on, it'll save you a lot of time and a lot of less dirt, which is nice.
How many of you out there use your shower for storage? We learned that one fast. Man, I tell you, some of these, when we're traveling, there's always these things you want to bring along, and sometimes there's not room for them. And all of a sudden, our motorhome has turned into Lisa's toy chest. And all the toys, where are they going to fit? Like paddle boards, stuff like that.
Bows and arrows.
So we use the shower when we're traveling, when we're going from point to point, and that's a great thing. A lot of people never think of that. Or
your trash can, your cooler, because how often do you use your shower, really? And it's quite a good space in there.
It is. So that's just one of the little tips you had on your list there. I thought was kind of funny. But when we first got our motorhome, I didn't want to do anything, and they didn't want to put anything in the shower, because I've seen people load stuff in the shower, then it's just a permanent closet. And one of the conveniences is we've got that available out on the road, and we can use it. So anyway, what else? You had some other interesting things on there that we
one
share.
Thing that we use that we found kind of accidentally, because at first we had a broom and we were always sweeping out the motorhome, and you know how it is when you're out camping, dirt's always coming in, or if you have a dog, the dog's always bringing dirt in. So we found this little Shark vacuum, and it's not very big. It's probably 18 inches long, but it's really thin.
It almost looks like a toy.
Yeah.
Man, is it something else?
It's the little Shark, what was it called? Ultra Wand. It's about $150. It's the best thing that you will buy for your motorhome, guaranteed. For me, anyway, it doesn't take any space. It's super absorbing of all your dirt, and boom, you do that once or twice a day, and it's gone.
And it's rechargeable.
Yeah,
like a lot of the things are now. But this thing actually holds a charge for a long time, and it picks up stuff you would not believe. It picks up stuff almost as big as it is. It's only about this long, and it's just about that big around. But man, is it a great machine. It's one of the best things Shark's ever built.
Yes. And it lasts. Like, we've just keep using it and using it. Sometimes bring it inside our regular house. It's fun.
We ought to have two of them, actually. All right, what else you have there?
All right, we were going to talk about a few driving tips, because we were just on the road and saw so many motorhomes that there's a couple of them that you leave your signals on. What's that about? I mean, it must drive the truckers bonkers, Well,
like we said last week, there's miracles performed every moment by truckers saving people's lives that are completely unaware of what they're doing and how stupid they are with their cars and trucks and
It's
trailers.
like, use your signal, but then turn it off. Like, is your radio so loud you can't hear it? You're not going to keep turning. I don't know, maybe that's one of my pet peeves, but I'm just
definitely
turn your blinker off, please.
Turn your damn blinkers off.
And don't tailgate. We can't see you if you tailgate us, especially those little cars that are zipping in and out. We can't see you. So if you're listening to this and you're a commuter, please don't tailgate me, because I haven't got my backup camera in yet, so I can't really see you all the time.
When you're out there driving, one of the big things I see is people lingering alongside of a semi-truck. We talked about this last week. One of our T-shirts has some pretty gruesome pictures of accidents that have happened because of that. And when you see these trucks or a motorhome or a trailer, if you're passing them, pass them. Get by them. Get by us. There's a huge vacuum forms between our cars, especially the big ones, a semi and a motorhome. Get by there. I see so many people just lingering along forever. And the truckers, they need that space, because a lot of times they get hit with a gust of wind. And what happens is, when they get hit with a gust of wind, they can be pushed right over into your lane. And it could be a disaster for you. So really, when you're passing trucks and trailers and motorhomes, the big ones, especially the Class A's, get out of the way. Get out of the way. Do not allow yourself to linger, because you're going to be the one that loses, because we outweigh you a lot.
Yeah, and the truckers have a blind spot. So those little cars, again, it's really hard to see for us as motorhomers and the truckers to see the small cars if you sit in our blind spot. So that doesn't really work.
Yeah.
And quit speeding, man. I swear, a speeding towable or a fifth wheel that comes flying by, you're causing problems for all of us. It's dangerous.
We saw a couple of people pulling trailers, and we were, our motorhome's Mercedes, and it's fast. It's a diesel. And we usually rarely go over 65 miles an hour with it, just because of the wind issues and just control issues. And we have people flying by us sometimes. They got to be going 90 miles an hour, pulling a trailer with a marginal automobile and our marginal trailer and marginal tires. And it's just looking for trouble. So really pay attention. I can't urge everyone enough right now, before you get out there, check your tires. got weather checking, change them. Check your tire pressures every time you leave, and then you get to the campground, check them again when you leave there. Pay attention to tire pressure. It's one of the biggest things that causes people problems out there on the road.
And give yourself enough time.
Time.
Right? Yep.
And people make excuses that they haven't got the time because that's why they didn't check it, and then boom, then something happens. So not to be doom and gloom. I mean, we want you everybody to have fun, but these are things that we've noticed just to us. We just went to Boise last week and noticed these things just in a 100-mile trip, and really some dangerous stuff. And if all of us weren't paying attention, there'd have been some wrecks.
Yeah, and it's just starting. So we're just starting the season, and that's one of the reasons why we're bringing this up is because we have summer is going to be twice as busy, twice as many cars, and give yourself enough time to get to your destination so you don't have to speed, and you're more aware and not tired. You know, a lot of the weekend warriors that go out for the weekend, they get very tired. So, treat yourself.
I'm an old Harley rider, a motorcycle rider, and love those things. And one of the things about motorcycle riders is they're usually pretty safe people. They really pay attention. However, here's some things we noticed just this last week, again, with some motorcycle riders, especially driving the faster bikes, we used to call them rice rockets, things like that. You got to be very careful and very aware, especially if you're driving a big vehicle. It's one of these motorhomes. We're particularly talking about motorhome drivers here because they're probably less experienced than most truck drivers. Truck drivers already know this stuff. But these guys just zip in and out of your cars, and you got to be really ready for that. And they'll scare the hell out of you when they come by you because some of them are doing 100 miles an hour. And they got pretty good control of those bikes. But what happens is you'll slam on the brakes and you can cause a jackknife on your own rig just from being shocked by them. So be very aware of motorcyclists. There's a lot of them out there now. Mm-hmm. And they're pretty good riders. Some of them are young and they don't have a death wish. They just don't think they can die. Till you get to be about my age and you're wise up. But just be aware of that. And what happens is you get shocked when they go by you because they make so much noise. So be on top of that one as well, because these motorcycle riders are, they're very vulnerable, and you just definitely don't want to have a wreck with one of them.
And I was also thinking about parking, because in the parking lots, remember, we as motorhome drivers and those of us that are truckers, that we make wide turns, and we require a little bit more room to be mobile. So to park right in front of us, I know a lot of them bring a cone along, and they put cones in the front and back because we need a little extra room to maneuver around.
Exactly.
And we have to remember that too. I know we had some problems in the very beginning when we started our motorhome journeys. We thought we were a car, and we're not.
Oh, we're not. We're not going to talk about that. The first 12 hours. Maybe one of these days I'll be brave enough to embarrass myself and talk about the first 12 hours of our brand new motorhome. Every time I think about that, it just makes me sick. But I'm not going to talk about it today.
That was that newbie.
I haven't got the courage. My ego's too fragile for that. So anyway, let's talk a little bit before we have to get off of here about our merchandise one more time. We had an experiment, and we did order a bunch of merchandise, and it came okay. This was some of it, which turned out fine. Some of it didn't, and we weren't happy with it, so we're going to do a redo. But we do have it available in our catalog or on our webpage right now, and it is orderable.
And there are a few other hats, like trucker hats with embroidered patches and just some really cool stuff that's coming. It's just taking a little longer with the supply chain to get to our destination. So it is coming. So give us some time. And again, comment of if there's something that you would like to see, or something on a shirt, on a hat that you'd like to see. We're sticking with those two mediums right now. And that's all we sell, really. We're just our merchandise, which are some really cool designs that we designed, and we designed them for you, for the motorhomers, for the truckers, food truckers, commuters. So take a look at them and shout out of what you like and what you don't like. We'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. And just so you understand, we're doing this for fun. And, we talk about some serious stuff, but it's not to be so serious that we get depressed over it. But what we want you to do is participate. We're doing this strictly for the joy of motorhoming and being out on the road. I'm one of those guys that loves the machines and have my whole life. And, and I know a lot of you are. I see these guys with their Class A motorhomes. They're just so proud of them, and they're having fun with them. And they're very complicated, and people spend a lot of time with these things. So it's time to get out there. And we're doing this whole podcast for those individuals that love that kind of stuff. And if you're a commuter, like Lisa's brother commutes, a couple hundred miles a day in a Prius. If you're camping in a Prius, we love you. I'm going to come up with a T-shirt about that. It's probably going to be comedy, but we will. And, so we're not casting out anyone. If you're out there on the road, we call you a road warrior because you make your living out there on the road, whether you're a truck driver or even an RVer that's just vacationing because he's taking these 2 weeks off a year and he's got this expensive rig, he's going to have fun. Or you're driving a Prius and you happen to sleep in it because you don't want to pay for hotel expenses. If you're one of those, and I watch YouTube, I see a couple of people that are camping in Priuses, which I started laughing at first, but your brother says, well, you can put a double bed back there.
Yeah, and the air conditioning can stay on when the car isn't on because it runs on batteries.
Electricity, yeah.
Yeah, he loves it.
It does make sense. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we're doing this for you, and we want to hear feedback from you. And
we have a donation, too. If you want to buy us a cup of coffee or donate through PayPal, it's on our website, frisky-biscuit.com. We'd appreciate it. All the money that comes in goes to our equipment, goes to our production cost, and putting this together for you guys out there.
And we really do appreciate it. And it's not we're not soliciting because we got to have it. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah, we don't want to do a bunch of affiliate links and sell things. And we just have our merchandise that is just fun merchandise for you. And
eventually we do have interest in people that would like to sponsor us, and we're going to be very selective about who that is. They got to kind of participate in the industries we participate in and the things that we like. And we know the things that you are watching the podcast for, the things you like too. So it's not going to be we're just doing this to haul a bunch of money in here. But we will take a couple of sponsors, and that'll be it. Mm-hmm. And Lisa will probably remain as one herself, so that might take one of the two slots. So we really appreciate you being with us today. And if you have something you want us to talk about, text us at 707-479-7404. And if you just have comments, you're more than welcome to text on that as well. Eventually, we'll probably have a direct line, and we're actually thinking about streaming a couple of these live just for fun, see what happens, see how many of you just jump on with us. But we want to build our audience right now, so subscribing to us, finding one of the channels that you like to watch, whether it's Spotify or Google Podcasts or Amazon.
And share it with your friends.
Please
if you like
do.
us.
Nobody's going to know we're here until you tell someone. We haven't got big enough mouths to tell the world.
I don't know
but the more people, the merrier, and the more we can do. And we're actually thinking about putting a couple of festivals together this summer here in the central Idaho area. One of them is going to be a food truck festival we're entertaining the idea of now. If you own a food truck, you hear this podcast, you're interested in participating, get in touch with us, 707-479-7404. Also, we do have a email address.
Yes, it's friskybiscuitpodcast@gmail.com.
So get in touch with us. Let us know if that's something that interests you. And we're probably going to be participating in some car shows here in Idaho because people here in Idaho love those cars, those antique cars, those restored cars. There's some really beautiful things here. And here where we're at, I've never seen so many gorgeous pickups in my entire life.
I know.
And the most embarrassing thing is they're all clean. How these guys keep these things clean here is amazing to me. But
I know. And every walk of life of pickup from 1950s to 2022 and Fords, Rams, Dodge. I don't even know all the names of them, but it's so fun.
A Dodge is a Ram.
Okay.
Oh, man, we got to get out of here. We have overextended our stay here, and I want to thank all of you for being with us. Mm-hmm. It's an absolute joy to have the privilege to do this with you. And again, subscribe. Let us know how you think with what we're doing. And if you want us to change it, let us know. If you want us to leave the air, it's not going to happen.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
And until next time, this is Dr. Gary and Lisa wishing you a great week. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.